So to start us off with, we're going to take our sphere here and we're going to shape it into a basic human head. This is only the third time, I believe, I have ever done a full body person before, so I'm still learning a lot, but you know what, I wanted to share this with you guys. So you got to start off slow, is what I've been figuring out. Getting that basic shape down. Once the basic shapes are down, it goes so much better, but it takes a minute. You got to spend some time in the early stages. Taking some more spheres, we add in our neck. Here we start in to add our ears, mirror it to the other side. This part don't really matter because I didn't like the way the ears looked. I just used them for proportion's sake. I end up redoing them later on anyways. Smoothing out, smoothing out that head, make it look nice, like a little baby's bottom. Realizing that the head might be a little long. A little too wide there, so we end up actually here shortly, once I indicate where the eyes are going to be on this bad boy, we end up actually shrinking the head down a little bit to get, a little bit more scale. You don't need to worry, you don't go too high detail yet, because like I said, the head was too large as it was, so I was able to shrink it down no problem later on. So this is why you don't go too high detail yet. If you go too high detail, then it becomes a bit of a mess. So here we're just carving away, trying to indicate where the jawline should be. Right here is where I kind of scale it down. See, I don't have too much detail going on here yet, so pretty easy to just scale it down. We're gonna try and indicate a bit more of where the jawline is, the base of the skull, the chin, all that stuff. Just kind of moving stuff around with the grab brush. Here we're gonna pull out the nose and just kind of shape things around a little bit of the, the eye socket, the bridge of the nose, everything like that. We inflate around the mouth, and then we just kind of indicate a little bit where the mouth is going to be. Taking a sphere, shrinking that down, positioning it in, taking some of the edges around and giving it a nice red color. That's how we're going to get our eyeball. I will do the pupil a bit later on. I do that in a separate method, but giving that nice little black outline. Here we're going to draw in our eyebrows. Our eyelids, excuse me. As you can see, Da Vinci ain't got nothing on me. These are beautiful. To be honest, the best I can tell you though is just add in a little bit more detail at a time. Like as we're doing the mouth here, taking our crease brush, taking the grab brush, just kind of pulling out that upper lip a little bit here. Again with the crease brush and the pinch brush around the eyes. Just take it slow, especially around the eyeballs and the eyelids, because you need a lot of detail in there. Like they're very tricky to do sometimes. Here I just took the crease brush and tried to kind of try to make him look a bit mad. Here's a method that we use a lot of though. We take a vertex with the snap tool on and a shrink wrap modifier, and we just trace along the edges and make the eyebrow, extrude it out a little bit, give it a nice little yellow color. We're gonna do that method a lot, like a lot in this, and it just makes it work. I do this for all my models to get the eyebrows, and sometimes the eyelashes. I didn't need them in this case, but usually I do it for the eyelashes as well. Here's that ear that I remade that I mentioned. Just nothing crazy, just a little bit better and mirrored onto the other side, not a big deal. Here we're gonna take a sphere and we're just gonna kind of shape it around his head. This is going to be because we're gonna start making the hair, and this will make it so it'll fill up any blank gaps. Using the curve method, if anyone has seen that before, this is how we're gonna make the hairs. Just kind of shaping them around as we need to. Duplicating it. Lots of duplicating. Just absolute lots of duplication. I end up actually taking another one of the curves, the circles there, and shaping it a bit differently. A lot, that the horn piece of the hair, parenting it to a different circle and then just shaping it a bit differently. That way it's not flat on the end, it's actually a bit more of like a sphere-ish. More duplication, followed by even more duplication. Just so much duplicating. So much duplicating. I've never done so much duplicating in my life. It's just duplication on top of duplication. On the eyes here, this is how we're going to get the black markings on his face. Same method as the eyebrows. Just, kind of scaling this as we need to. Added a subdivision modifier and curved it inside of the eye to give us make the eye have that black surrounding on it. I did turn off the snap tool to get it to actually work better on the hair there. But, we got it to work. Same method as, like I said, as the eyebrows and the markings to do the whiskers. Just kind of shaped them up as I needed to, copied the top one and shaped that one, the bottom one, a little bit different, positioned them as based off the references that I had and on my other monitor. Biggest tip I can give you, just references. Just get so many references. You can never have enough reference images. Use that same method for the eyes, for the pupils, I mean. And I mean, I think it worked out. Here, you're gonna take, so you take a cube, scale it to the size of the head, and then duplicate that 7 times. Use a 7-headed figure scale, so that will tell you about the length that like from top to bottom. That's how tall your model should be, about there. That's about how that usually works out for the most part. Here, you know, we're just gonna do some basic shaping, give them a little edges, you know, on the shoulders and on the hips and everything like that. Just trying to like get a basic, super basic, keep everything super basic shape for the body down as you need. Give them a little feetsies here. Indicate a bit better about where his hips should be. You know, just like I said, just take it slow as you need. I ended up taking those cubes and sliding them over to try and get a better idea about what the scale was I was looking at. I felt like he looked a little off, so I ended up pulling the hips up a little bit, moving the knees up a little bit. For the hands, take them fingies right there. Just kind of shrink down because the ones I had looked a little too fat. So shrink them down, duplicate, scale, or not scale, rotate, just everything that you need to do here, and just to give yourself 5 fingers. Last I checked, there's 5. There should be 5, so unless I've been lied to my whole life, there should be 5. I'm not super worried about, you know, merging it all together yet. We'll do that later on, because the hands need a lot of detail going in on there, and they're really tricky, and I don't have them totally mastered yet myself. Not even close. Here we're just kind of indicating a bit more stuff for proportion-wise, so I can get a general idea of what we're looking at here. Give him a nice chest, give him some nice abs. We're gonna start merging things together and smoothing it in. This is where I realized the hands looked a little too long, so shrunk those bad boys in. We're actually gonna take the thighs and the shins, give it a nice black color, and we're gonna start drawing in our pants. This is the method I wanted to try doing here. It's just drawing in the pants and everything. I was trying to indicate wrinkles on there. I end up redoing that whole method because the way I was doing it, I was like, I don't know about that. I used the cloth brush here to try and see if I couldn't do anything with that. This is another sphere that we're just shaping around the feet to try and get the shoes. Just doing everything that we need to do, adding detailing over time. The toes looked horrifying. We end up redoing those bad boys too. So here, same method as the eyebrows, is taking the shirt and just shaping it around the body. I end up adding a subdivision modifier, smoothing it in, giving it a nice orange color, making it look super nice, you know? You gotta do what you gotta do. Take off clipping on the mirror to make that separation in the bottom piece and the collar, and just gave it a nice look and decided, you know, it looks okay, I guess. So move on to the hands, add in you need a ton of detail in the hand. You have to go with a very high poly count here, or the spaces between the fingers will merge and you don't want that. So really high detail on the hands there. Put a little bit in the ears. They're not super visible, so I didn't need to go super high detail into it, but you know, just enough to indicate that there's something going on here. A nice look at the shirt tells me we're redoing it. And so I took a sphere, shaped it around the body, took another sphere, shaped the sleeves. Again, same method for the collar. Just shaping it around, merging those pieces together and smoothing it in as needed, making it look nice and good, nice and cozy sweater he's got going on there. The zipper is just a plain with a bunch of extruded out faces. Here I was trying to mess around with the wrinkles. What I ended up finding was taking the the crease brush and just kind of like indicating like a little gap here and smoothing it in, and it kind of worked out. I end up redoing the pants with using that method that I kind of tried out here, and it worked. Here we're adding them little toe beans, just redoing the toes, creasing them in. I wanted to do this for practice, even though the toes aren't even visible in the picture. It was just for practice, if anything. Same method here for the stripes on the jacket, is just using the plane and just shaping it around the jacket. I do the same for on the sleeves as well. I end up having to actually redo one of them once we start getting into the posing, which was unfortunate, you know, but it is what it is. It worked out. Here, we're going to take our armature, we're going to scale it up, we're going to delete any unnecessary bones that we're not going to need, and we're going to try and shape the armature around the shape of our model here, and that's going to help us when we get to the posing. I still need to do the cloak, I still need to do the bandages on the hand, but I wanted to get him shaped up and, you know, and posed before I actually ended up doing that. So delete anything that I do not need. I only shaved, or I only did the right side here. The left side, I deleted it and then just used symmetry and just did it that way. Rigify add-on, boom, parent it to the model, and then start doing a little posing here. Just start posing them up a little bit. As you can see, the black on the sleeve got all messed up, so I had to end up redoing all of that once I got the kind of posing going in here. So we're actually going to use, again, the same method, using a plane. I believe I use a solidify modifier, subdivision modifier, and just shape the bandages around the hand. Had to do each one individually. Ended up having to redo the hand about twice, I want to say. It literally took me an entire day to do the bandages on the hand. It was nutty. Using, again, a sphere, this is how we're going to start doing the cloak. And I start dragging out for the tails to kind of indicate about where the tails on the cloak should be, to see how I feel about that. Gave it a nice red color, realized I don't like that, and we're going to push that all back in and just smooth it back out like it never existed. We're going to take a sphere, again, just kind of scale it up as I need to do, position it in place, copy, and then position each one differently so they're not just carbon copies of each other, so they look a little bit different, rotate them around and everything like that. I do the same thing for the top, for the tails, just trying to smooth everything in, join it together, merge it all up in. Same for the collar, just taking the sphere, shaping it around. The markings right there on the cloak are the same method as before, just a plane, the edge, or sorry, not the edge, the snap tool and the shrink wrap modifier, and just scaling as we go. It's so much of this, so much of this. I took the whiskers and scaled them down the side of his neck once I got a bit further along in the model. Here I just played around with a lot of materials. I couldn't quite decide on what I wanted to do with the cloak. I ended up finding the method I used for the hair you saw a second ago is what I ended up just copying over to the from the hair over to the cloak. And then here we just kind of UV unwrapped the eyes and the face, added in some reds to the face, a nice lip color. Here we're just kind of coloring in the eyes, giving a nice dark color up top, a nice little light color on the bottom here, some little black little markings around the edges of the eye right there. Just going in, doing just little touch-ups at a time, just little things. Taking it piece by piece. And, we were getting there. It took me about, I want to say, like an hour or so just on the face, because I'm not really used to doing textures on the faces, so that took me a little bit there. Here I took an icosphere with a decimate modifier, copied and pasted it, used a plane, used a little particle simulator here, and touched up the emission modifier to get the little sparkles that you see in there, on the cloak that he's got in the anime. And that's how we got where we are today. In total, I know this was kind of cut up all over the place, but it was, I think in total, when I cut up all the video and just had everything going, I want to say this recording, like the sculpting and everything, it ended up being about 20 something hours of just sculpting for this. A lot of redos, a lot of reshoots. Ended up, like I said, I ended up redoing the cloak because I tried to do the plane method. Didn't like it. So just use the method that you guys saw here. It was just so much trial and error. So much trial and error. But you know what? I'm happy with the end result here. If you do kind of want to get a good idea of about the amount of trouble I had to go through to make this, I do have a video. It's about an hour. I want to say about an hour and 20 minutes about that. That's just the mostly unedited footage of just me sculpting, just sped up with some nice chill music in the background. If you want to check that out, it should be on the channel as well. If you guys like this kind of stuff, we're still figuring out exactly our footing here on the channel, but you know what, I had a lot of fun making this, and I look forward to making more things in the future for you. But we're gonna sign out here. If you enjoyed the video, let me know in the comments what you think. Subscribe if you'd like. If you want to see some more, I do have an Instagram and all that stuff if you want to just kind of keep up to date with some of the stuff I've been posting. I want to thank you all for watching, though. My name's Dusty Mill. Bye, everybody.